His birthday morning arrived with a kind of stillness that only happens when you expect chaos. But it doesn't come. I had tied the balloons by myself, one hand awkwardly managing the ribbons as he kept trying to grab them and chew on them. The blue and yellow foil stars reflected the kitchen light in little flashes, uneven and soft. The cake sat on the counter, slightly sweating. There were smudges on the frosting where I had tested the lettering. It wasn't perfect by any means, not like those flawless Pinterest cakes, but it was enough. It was ours. My parents were supposed to arrive by 10 o'clock. They promised they wouldn't be late. But at 10:15, my phone buzzed, not with a call, but with a photo of my sister looking flawless. Her skin smooth and glowing like it had been airbrushed. Palm trees behind her, the caption, "Big things coming." I stared at it for longer than I should have, as if there was something hidden in the pixels that could explain why this had taken precedence over my 1-year-old smashing cake into his face. For the first time, by 10:30, my son had lost interest in the balloons and crawled toward the dog's water bowl. I stopped him, laughing despite myself, and he laughed back with that full-body laugh. Like a reminder of forgiveness I didn't deserve. At 10:42, the text arrived. "We're staying another night. The shoot ran late. We just don't care about your child the way you want us to." It was like reading a weather update, no apology, no emotion. Just information. I read it twice, then a third time slowly, as if the words would change if I gave them more time. They didn't. I typed noted and set the phone face down on the counter. That moment when I put the phone down was when something inside me shifted, not cracked, not broken, just rearranged like moving furniture out of the way of a bruise. The party went on anyway. Two friends showed up. One brought a gift, but the batteries disappeared shortly after. We sang quietly. He smashed the cake, focused, as if it was the most serious job in the world. When he finally fell asleep, sugar-drunk and drooling, I wiped frosting from the high chair and told myself the ache in my chest was temporary. But it wasn't. It wasn't the first time they've missed something. They've missed my graduation dinner because of traffic. They've missed my engagement party because my sister had a gallery opening. They've missed my pregnancy announcement because my dad wasn't feeling well, then posted from a casino an hour later. Every time, there was an excuse that sounded fine until you put them all side by side. And then there was the money, the quiet assumption that, because I was responsible, my accounts were just there, ready to be used. I added my mom to a credit card years ago after a surgery, and never removed her. I paid the phone plan. I handled bookings when they traveled because you're better at this stuff. It felt easier than arguing. It felt like care. That night, after I had finished the dishes and the house settled into that quiet hum that only comes after a long, busy day, my phone vibrated again. It was an alert from my bank. Attempted charge declined. 184,217 Hotel, Los Angeles. I sat down on the edge of the bed, holding my phone, staring at the number like it was something alive in my hands. I didn't feel anger. That surprised me. I felt clarity. The text from this morning replayed in my head, stripped of all tone, just the blunt reality of it. We just don't care. I opened the banking app, froze my card, froze a secondary account, changed my passwords. It took less than 3 minutes. The screen congratulated me on securing my finances, a little check mark popping up as if to pat me on the back. I set the phone down and listened to the house. The baby monitor hummed softly. The dog sighed in his sleep. Outside, a car passed, tires whispering on the asphalt. 10 minutes later, the phone started ringing. I let it ring. Then the texts started rolling in, each one getting shorter than the last. "What did you do? The card isn't working. Call me now. This is embarrassing." I didn't answer. I just watched as the notifications bloomed and faded like clockwork. Panic has a rhythm. Once you hear it, you recognize it immediately. An hour later, another call, this time. It was my dad, followed by my sister calling from an unknown number. Finally, I replied to my mom because the silence had done its job and I didn't need more. "You said you didn't care. I took you at your word. We'll talk next week." There was a pause long enough to feel deliberate. "How could you do this to us?" she texted. "We're stranded." I almost laughed, almost. But the word stranded didn't sit right with me. They weren't stranded. They were inconvenienced. And there's a difference that matters. I typed and erased, typed again. "The hotel can take another card or you can check out. No flourish, no sermon, just options." The call stopped after that. I slept the next morning. I woke up to sunlight streaming through the curtains and the sound of my son babbling to himself, playing with syllables like he was making up a language. I changed him, fed him, watched him drop his spoon on the floor and look at me like he had just discovered gravity. There was a voicemail, but I didn't listen to it. 3 days later, my dad sent an email. It was formal, the kind of email people send when they realize that casual rules no longer apply. He acknowledged missing the birthday. He mentioned stress. He asked when we could resolve this. The following week, we met at a cafe halfway between our houses, neutral ground, public. My mom showed up wearing sunglasses, even though it was overcast. My dad ordered tea, but he didn't drink it. They spoke first. Apologies that sounded more like explanations. The shoot had been important. Opportunities don't wait. They didn't mean it the way it sounded. The hotel mix-up was just a misunderstanding. I listened. I noticed how often my mom checked her phone. How my dad avoided my gaze whenever money came up. When there was a break in the conversation, I spoke. I need things to change, I said. I won't fund trips I'm not invited to. I won't be spoken to like my child is optional. If you want to be in his life, you show up. If you don't, that's your choice. But the logistics and access no longer come with guilt. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me, too. They were quiet, not humbled, not transformed, but quieter than before. We paid separately afterward. I walked to my car, sat for a moment with my hands on the steering wheel. There was no feeling of victory, just a quiet moment like standing on a dock after a boat ride. They didn't suddenly change. They missed another milestone later that year. But they stopped using my accounts. They started asking before assuming, and the volume was turned down. At home, my son took his first steps. He stumbled and got back up, stumbling again, trusting the floor would catch him when he tried. I watched him and felt that boundaries settle in place. Not as punishment, but as structure. Sometimes late at night, I reread that text. We just don't care about your child. It doesn't sting anymore. It feels like a warning label I wish I had seen earlier. I don't celebrate what happened. I live with it, and that, at last, feels like enough.